I'm Kim Needs, one of 8 customer account managers here at iSAMS, and we work closely with schools and colleges to ensure they are happy with the day-to-day running of their iSAMS systems. Another warm welcome to Paul from the British College of Brazil for joining us today. The college have been with iSAMS for 4 years this September, Paul. So to kick off, what do you like most about iSAMS?
Well, lots of things. I wanted to say, of course, apologies if you can hear. We are, a working school, so you might hear a bit of noise in the background going on. But in terms of our use of iSAMS, what I think has been the most useful thing, kind of overall, is that we've been able to bring all of our staff, student and family data together in one place, and it's readily accessible. We can customize different levels of access for our different staff groups. So we're cutting down on a little bit of staff time when they need to go and fetch information from different sources. They can do that based on their access level. I, as Jack mentioned, have been an assessment and reporting lead at the school for a while now, so I like the integration of the data into our academic reports. I found that very, very useful, that the reports are kind of highly customizable and really can be adapted to the needs of our school community. And on a more sort of practical level, the wizard bars are really, really useful. Actually, that's a helpful feature because it's the same processes probably you're doing day to day, week to week, and having those on a quick menu bar to the side is a really helpful option as well.
Thank you. Those are some really great insights, and obviously lots to like. So leading on to that, which iSAMS features or modules do you use most often?
Well, personally, as I've mentioned, the reporting manager is something that I've had a lot of I spent a lot of time working on. It's really helped me to organise assessment across the primary school, to make that a much more seamless process from teachers entering data into iSAMS. That then is stored over the long term. We can go back and look at that in subsequent academic years. We can feed that into our report. So the reporting manager and kind of the associated modules, like the online assessment system, are ones that I've had a lot of contact with. Registration manager is very, very useful. We use that frequently, checking up on pupils, making sure that any kind of inconsistencies in attendance are getting flagged up, and we often have families come back to us and ask for reports on attendance. They want to check, especially if they're moving or if they move abroad. Sometimes the schools in their new countries often like to have that information. We have that ready to hand for them. We're not kind of ploughing through sort of paper registers. It's all there. It's all ready for us. We've just added the wellbeing manager as well as a new module for us, and that's looking like something which is going to become a really important part of what we do in terms of safeguarding pastoral care for the children, and having that information securely accessible to our safeguarding leads and to those members of the school community who need access to it. I think is going to be much better than kind of our current paper-based system. We're moving away from that into something much more flexible and much more user-friendly.
So obviously it's good to hear that iSAMS makes your job a little bit easier on a day-to-day basis. That's obviously what we aim to do with iSAMS. As you know, we recently launched multi-divisional timetables, which allows schools to create multiple divisions, to create separate registration rules for each division. So how do you personally find managing a multi-curriculum for 3 to 18-year-old students within iSAMS?
Well, that's something that we've introduced this year. It's a new feature within the platform, and that's great because obviously there's that flexibility. A primary and a secondary school do operate on very different timetables, different lesson lengths, different day structures, and having multi-divisional timetables, gives us the option to more accurately reflect what's happening day to day with our staff. I can easily pull up a timetable now for my staff in the primary school, find out who's available at different times of day. If I need support, if I need cover for a break duty, lunchtime, or for a teacher that's absent, I can find out who's who's available to me much more quickly. We can also then feed that through into the parent portal, and we can have that information readily available to parents as well, so that they can quickly and easily see what their child's week is looking like.
Great. Sounds complicated, but it looks like you've got it all in hand with iSAMS. As Jack mentioned, iSAMS have a partnership program with developers, integrators from various third-party applications that work with iSAMS. So we're wondering, does your college integrate with any third-party systems via the APIs? And if so, does this integration help?
Yeah, it is something we do make use of. It particularly supports my colleagues in the finance and admissions departments. We integrate with NAV Business Centre, that's a finance solution, and it means all of the customer records are readily available to the finance department through iSAMS. We're not doubling up on having that information in two places. I know that's something they're working on and working with all the time. Our admissions department have a Salesforce add-on as well, so that means that the admissions process involving the children is a really seamless experience. Again, the information is ready for teachers as soon as enrolment is confirmed. The children are on iSAMS across from Salesforce, and we have that information on the academic team very, very quickly. We've previously used Schools Buddy as well, which was a solution for organising our extracurricular activities and day trips and so on. I say previously used that. Obviously, our offering in terms of extracurricular activities changed a lot during the pandemic, and it was something we didn't have much use for a while. But when we did use it, we found it a very useful add-on to iSAMS.
Some great insights into our third-party integrators. As you know, iSAMS training can be accessed from anywhere around the world, which is particularly helpful when in Brazil. Obviously, we would love to visit, but it's not always possible. So what is your experience of iSAMS support, training, and our online school community as a whole?
I've always found support when I've had a question or an issue with iSAMS to be very, very good. The response time excellent from the help desk. If I've raised a query there, I always feel like someone's going to be coming back to me very soon and will keep me updated if it's something they need to go away and have a look at for me. So I've always felt well supported in that respect. I've also found it easy to do my own kind of background research on new modules and find out information through resources available online and tutorial videos. And we recently had some training provided by iSAMS staff on the Wellbeing Manager that we've recently added to our iSAMS here, and that was fantastic. It was very accessible, gave us all of the practical advice we needed to get started with using the Wellbeing Manager, and everyone came away feeling confident that we could begin to use the platform from straight after that session. We knew what we needed to do, and we had a point of contact to go back to if we did have any questions at all.
That's great to hear that you're constantly training your staff, because as you know, iSAMS are always developing new and useful modules to help the day-to-day running of schools. The Wellbeing Manager, as you mentioned, focuses on managing student concerns and well-being. And it may seem like a bit of a distant memory now, but how did iSAMS help your school continue to operate during the pandemic with, obviously things like student concerns, etc.?
Yeah, well, it's something, reflecting on that, the Wellbeing Manager would have been a great thing if we'd had added it at that time. It's a recent addition to the school, but it would have been a really useful module for us during that time, because we were managing a kind of a different set of concerns during that period, and it would have been good to have the facility to share those and store those on student records through iSAMS. But in terms of our use of it during the pandemic, it was really helpful to have that remote access to pupil, staff and parent information. We weren't able to access the physical site, but a lot of our records, academic records and personal records for the children were still available to us, even though we weren't able to get into school. We were still registering all of our children through iSAMS, so we were able to to keep track of students and their engagement with online learning, which was obviously was a concern for, I think, majority of schools, to make sure that children were still learning, were still participating, were still visible, and we still had some contact with them even when we were going through periods of lockdown. So having this central resource, this central hub of information for students and their families was really useful, and having access to that even when they're away from school was really important.
Yeah, obviously one of the benefits of iSAMS being cloud-based is that it can be accessed from anywhere. And as I said, we're always developing new modules, in response to feedback we get from schools, wellbeing and manager being one of those. So I just want to say thank you so much again for joining us today and giving us your opinion on all things iSAMS related.